My name's Jenny Jarvis, the Chief Operating Officer at ETF, and I'm absolutely delighted to be introducing this next session, especially because, as you all know, the theme of the conference is promoting professionalism. And attaining professional status is a key driver in order to raise professional standards. So what better way to explain the benefits of professional status than to hear from two people who have completed their journeys? So I'm delighted to introduce to you two speakers. The first of those is Joe Withey, who completed his QTLS in 2018. And after that, he'll be followed by Roxana Patel, who completed advanced teacher status this year. Before he comes up, a little bit of information about Joe. So Joe teaches at Newham College as a science lecturer. He holds a degree in biomedical science and completed his PGCE in 2017. He gained QTLS in 2018, and apparently his application was commended for being of an exceptionally high standard. He's an advanced practitioner at his institution, a qualified apprenticeships assessor, and is currently completing his Masters in Leadership in Education at the University of East London. Please welcome Joe.
Thank you for the introduction. So yes, I don't need to tell you too much about my kind of environment, as that was all explained. So I'm going to get straight into sort of why I did QTLS and sort of where the journey took me and sort of how it benefited me throughout my career in the time doing it. So I think initially I was attracted to QTLS like most people from the sort of security that it brings, from the sort of parity it has with secondary schools and international education, because I did a non-QTS PGCE, so I thought if anything ever changes my circumstance and I do have to seek employment in other sectors, that QTLS is going to give me that kind of safety net to cast my net a bit further. However, once I actually undertook the procedure, I saw it was way, way more than getting sort of a badge of parity, and it was actually something that was incredibly useful to my career and something that I really, really enjoyed. So the most beneficial aspect of it to me was the encouragement of reflection, because in order to complete it sufficiently, and it encourages you to sort of reflect on your career and identify where you want to go. And I feel that's something that I wouldn't have necessarily done unless I had a sort of qualification like that kind of pushing me in order to do that. So my area of reflection that was encouraged by it was to improve my classroom practice, because all throughout my PGCE, I never achieved an outstanding teaching and learning grade. I got consistent goods. So I was thinking, I've completed my teacher training, but I feel my journey isn't fully complete. So I feel there's more developing to do. And I thought QTLS would be a perfect thing to help me with that. So as part of the process, it encouraged you to identify professional standards in which to work on. So mine was updating my knowledge through CPD to enhance my in-classroom practice, and also to look into equality and diversity and how to promote that in my classrooms, because maybe that was a reason why I wasn't quite getting that sort of engagement with my learners, because I teach in East London, in Newham College as mentioned, and it's a very diverse group. So maybe that's why they weren't as engaged, maybe that's why they were late to my lessons, so on and so forth, because maybe I wasn't connecting them at a level that maybe I should have. So to overcome this, the main thing for me was diving into CPD and looking online at the stuff the SET has, the Online Teaching and Learning Foundation, looking into Jeff Petty's works and all of that kind of stuff. And I think for me that was most beneficial, was finding stuff that was related directly to my sector. And that's when I really started to understand how to become a better teacher, because I feel a lot of CPD that I was undergoing was the stuff that was presented to me at my staff development sessions within my institution. And it's always very one size fits all, because there's a lot of teachers that attend them. So I think that's what really helped me, and that's what kind of helped me create the buzz in my lesson that was required. And following the completion of my QTLS, I did achieve my first outstanding, which was excellent and kind of showed how beneficial the process was to me. But not only that, it just really opened up my eyes to what you can actually do if you are prompted. I feel without QTLS, I wouldn't have been going on that journey, and definitely wouldn't have found the time as a newly qualified teacher to be looking into CPD, to be looking into opportunities, to be looking to enhance myself. So I feel the process really pushed me to do that, and it inspired pretty good outcomes, not just for me, but also for my institution, as I was, of course, sharing my work with my colleagues, and it helped my department in order to improve their practice as well. So it wasn't like it just benefited me, it was benefiting those within contact around me as well. So from there, I achieved my outstanding teaching and learning grade and became a consistently outstanding teacher, which allowed me to apply for the advanced practitioner role, which I am currently doing now. And upon QTLS ending, I thought, I don't really want the journey to end here. It's done so much for me and kind of strived me to be a better practitioner and reap the benefits of being a better practitioner. So that's why I undertook a Master's in Leadership and Education to try and break the next stage into that management level and kind of progress in my career even further. So I'm due to finish my Master's this June, and on Monday, actually, I was successful in my application of getting the job as a T-level coordinator at my institution. So I've already made that move into management now. So I feel that initial drive to want to be better and the benefits of making yourself better all kind of started with the QTLS process. So I don't think I'd be as successful as I am without it, and it's that drive to improve that's really instilled in me. And I think following my Master's this June, I think I will probably look into ATS as well, like Roxana's going to talk to us about, and hopefully I can sort of follow in Roxana's footsteps on that one as well, but I have to wait a couple of years because I think it's 4 years after your initial teaching qualification to apply. So it'll be a couple more years for that, but that is something I'll definitely look into because I feel that could also help develop me even further. So that's pretty much my journey and what it's done for me, and yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I think that's everything. Thank you very much.
So if the stories from Joe and Roxana have inspired you and you don't currently have QTLS or ATS or want to become a SET member, and there are plenty of the team to talk to or contact us after the event. I gather we have time for some questions, though, so it would be great if anyone has any questions they want to ask our two holders of QTLS and ATS about their professional practice or about the statuses themselves. So if there are any questions, please raise your hand, and I'm sure we have some mics at the back. We have a question at the front here.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Roxana, I'm just interested with regards to the video feedback. Was that a quicker process in giving feedback as compared to the traditional methods? What were the pros? What were the cons? Did other teachers adopt it? Is it widespread now? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Thank you for your question. As part of my case study, my focus was on digital pedagogy. So I tried the use of screencasting and Snagit. Yes, there are pros of this feedback, as learners could see my recorded session of the feedback. They could see exactly where my feedback, where the cursor was, where I was typing, what I was saying. I was also correcting their grammar along the way, not just this vocational side, but also on their function. I was commenting on their use of language, use of sentence structure. Not only that, they could visit the video feedback again and again. Yeah. I did trial this and with one of the group, and I compared the outcomes with the other group of which I was giving just the written feedback. I did a little focus group, and the outcome of on Snagit and use of screencasting from learners was very positive. Unfortunately, it does require a lot of time. As a result, I could not implement it across the group, and some of the teachers have been using it now, but not all of them. Yeah.
Questions, please, for our two ATS and QTLS holders? Yes, one at the front here. We'll just wait for a microphone as well. Will you raise your hand again? Thank you.
Hi, thank you. It's question's really about parity, so it's really for the ETF and SET. And it's been raised locally at our SET CPD events we've held. And again, I agree totally that it's an excellent tool for personal development, and the stories are inspirational, and it's really important. But the question is, do schools and academies really see QTLS as parity to QTS? And if the answer is no, what does the ETF intend to do about it to raise that parity? I've got QTLS and ATS myself and obviously a bit passionate about it, but from our local event, I was made aware that apparently QTLS is not accepted in Wales by schools and academies.
I can answer, Aman. I can answer part of that question. When I finished my QTLS, I was considering going into secondary schools for a small amount of time, and I applied for 4 secondary schools, and a few years later I applied for head of biology roles in secondary schools because I couldn't really see the progression coming at my institution, and I wasn't declined any interviews, and I made it very clear in my application that I was not a holder of QTS, but I did have QTLS. And I did interview for a few of the positions, and none of them even mentioned it being an issue, and I did mention it in the interview because I don't want to have to go through this whole process in order to be declined based on something like that. And they said, oh no, it's completely fine. But for a bit of context, I am a science teacher, which is a bit more difficult to place in schools, so I don't know if I can't speak on if they were kind of taking it as sort of a benefit to have a science teacher, which is generally hard to recruit. But in my experience, it's never been an issue in multiple situations I've been in.
I think we've got time for one last question, if there are any further questions. Oh, there's a mic there, I think. Yeah.
Can I just mention, following up from what you've just said, I've actually taken part for the last 2 years as being a QTLS reviewer. And one of the things that I've seen particularly in the last 12 months, is more applications coming through for QTLS for people that are actually teaching in the school sector. So there is a lot of parity there between FE and schools with regards to holding QTLS. So I just wanted to make that point.
Great. Thank you very much for that comment, and certainly that's something we've seen at ETF and SET. I think this just gives us time then to wrap up and thank our 2 speakers once again for the session before we move on to the next one. Thank you.